My name is Tony DiMiele, and I kind of want to go a little bit over kind of how I got started with the business. When I joined the business, I was working at a CPA firm. It was a Big Six firm, KPMG, Marwick, if you're familiar with the accounting world. It was six of them at the time. I think there's only four now. And started working there straight out of school, out of Northern Illinois University. And 2, 3 years into it, I was started there as an intern and then continued on as a after graduation. But I was in my role there was as an auditor, financial statement auditor. So if any of you are familiar with auditors, they're not the most well-liked people when they walk into an office. It's not like today where they come in and offer you a cup of coffee and some dinner and stuff like that. You're not the person that they want to see when you walk in, especially when you're dealing with a lot of the staff members. But anyway, so it was a role I needed to get adjusted to because, like I said, auditors are not the most well-liked people. And something I rolled in, got adjusted to. I would buy a lot of donuts to make sure the clients were happy, and that was one way of sucking up to them. But so a few years into that, about 3 years. Yeah, it's about 3 years into it. Then that's where I got exposed to this business. My roommate from college, my senior roommate in college, Mario Sonari, he had introduced me to the business, and then introduced me. Obviously, I already knew Anthony, also from school, and so the two of them kind of just shared with me a little bit about what they were doing with the business at that time. And this was probably right around right after. This was after the Y2K scam or scare, I should say, and then the dot-com bubble was bursting at that time, and it was really a good point because I had just gotten frustrated with my career too, as being a financial statement auditor. Wasn't sure if there was something I wanted to do, and learning how this business now, we were helping families, putting together financial plans from day one and helping them through all their life changes all the way up until retirement. And that kind of started appealing to me about helping someone from the ground up and starting from the ground floor and building up. Whereas, as a financial statement auditor, you're dealing with companies that are hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars. You really don't really have any impact on that company, whatever your suggestions are or what the work you're doing. So, it was more like just a job, and you're just kind of just like pushing paper at the time, really kind of what it felt like. So when I got exposed to this and where you're actually constructively helping somebody is kind of what appealed to me. And I wasn't a fast starter in this business. It took me a long time to kind of get started. I know at the time I was working 60 hours a week. It was right during busy season when I joined. But I stayed committed to learn about it, to learn about the business, and continued forward. Then eventually got my licenses. I know I was studying for my licenses one time when I was at the job visiting a client. I was studying because the testing center was down the street. So I would study and then go take my security exam during lunch and come back. But anyway, that was just the role that I started. Again, slow starter, but something I knew I wanted to do, that I needed to do something else, and that's kind of what appealed to me. With this business, and then just progressed on. Hit marketing director, started helping families, and then about 10 years ago, had decided with another partner to open up an office where I kind of grew up in Oak Lawn, Burbank area, and we still have that office today. And it's a small little office, and it's more of think of it as a Edwards Jones type of office where I meet clients and have some small team meetings if needed. But it was something that appealed to me to do, and mainly one of the big deals with that was my father has been self-employed for his whole life, and just kind of seeing the relationship that he grew with people, and so we when we opened up this office, it was right next door to him, and so I got to see him every day, and then also got to meet a lot of his clients. But what appealed to me, seeing my dad with him calling his shots, being self-employed. Now his business was very labor intensive, but he still called his own shots and had his clients that were with him for 30, 40, 50 years. Some of his clients are my clients today. and they talk about how long they've been with my father, and now we talk about how long that we've been together as clients and as in our relationship. So it just continues from there. During this career, we've lived through a lot. I mentioned we were here during the dot-com bubble bursting, and then the 2008 that financial crisis, and now here we are with coronavirus. We've lived through a lot with this, and for those of you that are new in this business or getting started in this business, this is your first crisis that you're learning in this career. I changed my career, with this business. I never completed the CPA exam. When I saw this business, I was halfway through, and I decided that I was not going to continue the CPA, and I was just going to continue or pursue my securities licenses, and I did that. And then, but I did along with building this business, I did what did appeal to me was to build a little tax practice that I started building because I thought it was something that could help my clients on this side with WFG and Transamerica. And we started doing that, and it's kind of built up to a little bit, nothing major, but what appealed to me was I was able to help our clients with that knowledge of the tax side. So, you'll see that a lot of my business is built around that, with helping with tax planning and then also going into the financial planning. So, a little bit about me, not too detailed, but, it's a pretty boring story, but, just kind of a little bit where I came from and how I continue to build this business. So I kind of want to share a little bit what we're doing today, what I'm doing today, what we want to during these times, how to help, and hopefully you can pick up one or two pointers. My first part of my talk will be about what I'm doing now with, having the client base that I have, having those relationships. But, for those that are new, kind of learn from it and maybe pick up something that you can do, that you can add to your business as you're learning it. And then my last part, I'm going to talk about if I was just starting today. And what I mean by just starting today is what I did when I was starting back during the dot-com crisis and the 2008 financial crisis that we had. So what am I doing now? One thing I'm doing now is, connecting with clients and also with teammates, in all the different forms that we can. Obviously, phone is the best that I'm using. Just picking up the phone like I did with that client today, and we're talking about what we did a year ago to help them out. And then also with teammates too. If you have a teammates, stay in touch with them. These are crazy times for them too. Stay with, and also, being honest with your teammates that you want to stay in touch with them. They're busy at home with their kids, and they're still working from home. And so obviously I'm respectful with their time in regards to that. So I'm not overbearing on a daily basis, but, just staying in touch and kind of reminding them what are some things that they continue to need to do with our business. And then, another tip is, your clients are calling, or, my clients are calling. I'm sure a lot of people's clients are calling, and just being really quick with responsive with that. I try to respond, whether it's an email or a phone call. Try to be responsive, minimum within 24 hours. If not, I would definitely same day or, an hour or two later, just to call. And if they're asking a question, then I'll be like, hey, if I don't have it right away, I'll say, hey, let me get back to you. So I'm not afraid to let them know, hey, let me research it and call back, if I don't know the answer right then and there. So definitely those are the two main things. Another thing I'm doing a lot of is really staying informed with these times. Is that when I'm having conversations with clients or even prospects, is really just giving kind of my opinion, whatever your opinion would be. But I'm trying to absorb as much information as possible, staying on top of all this information, and then when I'm talking with a client, I can speak with confidence of what's going on, and I can relay on that, relay that information to them from what my opinion, what I'm hearing and interpreting, and because I think someone, as an advisor, as a client, and they want to work with an advisor that's informed with what's going on and has opinions, and not just saying, yeah, I didn't hear about that, or I'm not familiar with that. So that's what I'm doing during this crisis time, is really staying in tune with what's going on as much as I can without going insane. with all the information available. You know, I've cut out a lot of things that I usually normally do. You know, definitely I was, you know, very big advocate for sports and, you know, listen to all the sports talk radio as possible. But with no sports going on right now, they're not really talking about much. They're just making stuff up talking. So I'm just kind of staying informed with this, and this has kind of replaced anything sports related. And I kind of like it because I'm really staying in tune with what's going on in the news market and in those areas. So, you know, that's another thing that, you know, my biggest key that I've implemented is just kind of getting that information and really being on top of it for myself. Um, Also, you know, we're having strategy sessions, whether it's on the phone like earlier or Zoom. You know, I know we had a Zoom earlier, which I'll kind of talk about in the second part here. You know, with these strategy sessions, we're talking about, you know, any life changes that they may have. You know, they may have gotten married. I know somebody on Saturday we were talking with, they had to update their beneficiaries, their name changed because they just got married. So we had to do those kind of things. But also, you know, a conversation I'm having too with clients is, you know, when we're talking about these strategy sessions, is taking a look at their portfolio and then just kind of give an opinion of maybe reallocating. You know, a client last week that I met with on Thursday, you know, we kind of looked at his IRA and we looked at his holdings, and you know, we're kind of talking about different things, and you know, I said, hey, you know, these couple positions, they may not rebound as fast. You know, can we reallocate your existing money to things that to another holding that might rebound faster and help you kind of recoup some of the, you know, other areas that are going to grow faster during these times. So when the market starts recovering as it has the last 2-3 weeks. So, you know, having those conversations with clients saying, hey, you got existing money with us. We're not just going to stay still. Can we modify a little bit to maybe take advantage of some upswing as things come up? So there's another thing we're doing. And then obviously campaign manager, trying to stay on top of that as much as possible. I'm really sharing information through that, which I'll share in my second part. So my second part of what I was going to, in terms of my PowerPoint, was just kind of showing if I was just starting today. If I was just starting today, you know, what would I be doing? And again, these are just things that I did starting out back, you know, when I was transitioning from CPA world to the financial advising business. Is you know, number one, everyone kind of like be proactive. You know, you want to be proactive. This is your business. In my opinion, I think it's a great time to start. You know, you probably, a lot of the distractions that we normally have are eliminated. So you have time to focus on these things. You know, I know even myself, you know, taking kids from their activities, picking them up from school, other things that you normally wouldn't have, that you're normally be busy with, that makes time fly by so fast, is now that's gone because you can't do it. So for me, it's really a great time to pick up this career. If you really want to have this as a career, like I decided to do, you know, it was a business. It wasn't just a side thing for me. It was something like, hey, I want to make this a career. I'm replacing my career. I'm leaving CPA world to go into financial advising business. And that's kind of how, you know, how I treat it. And so for you, it's a great time for that, because you have the time to get to learn about it and then start building up your base in terms of clients and stuff. So being proactive, I know I was going through some of the GroupMe messages. I think it was Joanne and Michael that were sharing about how on Sundays you guys do some trainings together. You guys are doing some role playing, learning the Sandler way of selling. So, hey, that's great. You know, those are things that we did early on. You know, I know with guys I grew up with in the business, Patrick, you know, he and I worked closely together early on because we kind of both started at the same time. So, you know, there's that. And also being a student of the business, learning as much as you can about this, you know, taking the time out. So much information on demand that we have available, whether it's company produced or what our group Evolve partners are producing right now, is great. You know, an example is Thursday. This Thursday, we have Sal and Bravito from Transamerica on our webinar for this Thursday at 12 o'clock. You know, that is if you're new, that's something to take advantage of. Well, there's a couple things going on there. Transamerica's trying has changed some of their underwriting because of the crisis. So it's a great time to learn that and ask him questions. He might even go through some illustration training. That's something, when I started, I learned how the illustration software worked. I didn't wait for Mario to teach me. He would show me some things, but I took the initiative of saying, hey, let me learn this. And then when I have questions, I go to Mario or Anthony and I ask them the questions. I know one thing that, in terms of being a student of business and just learning, I know one case early on in our career, Mario and I were working on and trying to find the right solution to win this client over. And it was a pretty big case. The gentleman was retiring and rolling over, and we were looking just for the right solution because there was competition involved, and Mario's researching products, and I just took the initiative to research products myself, and I had found a new company or not a new company, but it was a company we didn't get exposure to before, and we brought them in and we found it, and that's how we won that case. That's how we won that piece of business. It was a fairly large piece of business that we won at the time. And it was just going out there, just taking that initiative. It's your business, it's your career. You go out there. Today, thankfully, a lot of the companies and stuff that we have, we get a lot of information. We have a plethora of information to learn. Our partners like Crump and AMS that kind of really help us expose us to all the different companies. But at the time, we didn't have that, and we had to do picking up the phone, finding it out, see if it's right. I know we went through 5 or 6 companies to find the best plan, and that client is still on the books today, and they've gone through two major market declines, and you know what, their income hasn't stopped, and their income hasn't been affected. So that was a proud thing that we did early on, that I remember doing, where it wasn't someone telling me to do it, I just did it myself. So that's a piece of things. So I'm glad to hear like Joanne and Michael doing that kind of stuff, because that's those things that you want to see from a business owner, from someone who's establishing a career. And then next is kind of like building up your campaign manager. I think I'll be able to share this screen because I saw it earlier. With everything going on, we kind of forgot that this is no, that one's not showing. What's going on here? Hold on a second. Now we kind of forgot that this is Financial Awareness Month, Financial Literacy Month. All of our Smart Money Week classes got canceled, which is not cool, because I know had a couple classes scheduled. I know Mario had some schedule. Mario and Michael have scheduled classes scheduled. I know we had a big week planned at the office, but we could still campaign. We could still campaign, and the company gave us some great tools that I just got updated on this past week in our play card. Can you guys see that? Can someone just give me a thumbs up that they see that?
We can see it, Tony.
Okay, cool.
We see it.
All right, awesome. So, this is, our campaign manager here. I know Shantae does great trainings, and Michael works this on. I'm sure a lot of you do too. But, this is just something that I do, and I'm not really that good at it. I know I have my staff help me a lot with this, but, some things that we do, and kind of just shows like the emails that we sent out. I think this over the last 30 days. Some things that, this is like this Thursday. So I'm sending this out to the team that Transamerica is going to come up and, help us understand the new underwriting guidelines that are happening. Easter, I try to do every holiday as possible, and this is all company produced. This is something that the company put together for us. It shows you how many opened it. And what's nice is a lot of the clients, I get a lot of replies back saying Happy Easter, for this one, Happy Easter, and hope everything's good with your family. So, that's that's produced by the company. Here's another one, how I use, again, a couple ideas of how we use this campaign manager. When you're a securities rep, you'll have more things available to you besides what's available as just a non-securities person. But, so I subscribe to a what they call Marketing Pro, where they just give marketing pieces and different articles. So then this one here, so this wasn't produced by WFG, it was produced by this marketing pro that I subscribe to. And it talks about the new CARES Act that just got released last week. And it just kind of highlights, and it just talks about everything that they hear in the news. And it just kind of gives them real snap, you know, real quick summary of a little thing, of the points, and probably most likely what affects them. You know, got a couple replies on that. Again, just keeping our clients informed. Again, that's just your securities license, but you know, things that you can, as you're growing this business, that you can do. Like here's one we just did recently, financial review. We just did that. Holy cow, 49% opened it. Wow, that's great. I just got 2 reviews this, you know, last week that we did after we sent this out. One on Saturday. You know, here's a client that you talk about building relationships in our business, kind of like what Angela was kind of talking about with that younger client. Here's this client when I started with him, he just opened up a Roth IRA. You know, I think it was like either $50 or $100 a month. You know, probably cost me more money to process the but over the years, he grew in terms of his income and stuff like that. But I know a couple of years after I opened that account for him, he calls me up and says, "Hey, my dad's retiring. You know, could you help him out?" So obviously his dad was retiring. You know, couple $100,000 rollover, helped out with that. And then this particular client, the son, then as he built up his Roth IRA, then I'm like, hey, it's time for you to, you know, he was making more income. It's time for you to maybe look at insurance. So we put an IUL in place. And then what was great, a couple of years ago, he goes and he was going to buy his house. And he's like, hey, I need money to kind of put down as a down payment and even use it as a kind of help build up the house to remodel the house when he buys it. Well, like, hey, you've been doing this Roth IRA for so long, you can take out $10,000 out without any penalty. You know, and that was, you know, just something little. Again, that whole career thing I was talking about earlier about helping somebody from ground zero to building up. So, you know, then and so we helped him out with that. And then just down this past weekend, so he got married last year. He and his wife bought a house together, and you know, she needed to update some information, you know, like her name change and stuff. But she just transitioned. She's transitioning jobs right now. So, you know, just from this review letter that we sent out last week, so it forced us to schedule that call on Saturday. About 50,000 will be moved over to Trans One. And now they're married and they're just looking to start a family and they have a new mortgage together. So what did I talk about? Because they're underinsured. So now we're looking at insurance policies this week. So those will be, you know, 3 pieces of business that will probably finish up this week or, you know, start moving along with just based on this review. And another client that we helped out with was also from this letter that, you know, again, that whole conversation, repositioning assets and taking a look at and introducing the first trust, again, some, you know, a securities related product because they have a lot of other already guaranteed products. But, you know, just exposing them and letting them know that, you know, these securities related products are something that they can look at. So again, and I know this is all emails and stuff, and social media is the thing today. I'm a kind of a slow mover on stuff. I'm not adapting to change right away. If I could get rid of one thing, it'd be social media in my life. But I know that's not going away. So eventually, whenever the new thing comes out, is probably when I'll learn how to use social media. But you know, right now I really take advantage of this as a campaign manager. It's working. Could work better, and you know, eventually I'll learn how to use that other social media stuff. But I'm just a slow mover on stuff, you know, like these First Trust and Folio. It's taken me time to kind of learn that story and sharing it with confidence to clients. But you know, that's just me. I'm just being myself on how I approach things. But here, anyway, first, the Financial Awareness Month here, you'll see this tab here. If you have this, you know, if you're securities licensed, you'll have all these. But here's the new thing that they just released. I think it's just released maybe a couple of days ago. But this is stuff that you can use. You can use Campaign Manager. You can use as social posts. Pretty cool stuff that the company produces. You know, if you're licensed and you're part of your access fee, that our membership fee is for this stuff. I would encourage using it. It's a great time to get this established, get your campaign manager, get that foundation established, get your database built up, and start fresh. And contacting your clients, or friends. I know in the beginning when I started this, anybody I had an email for, I just threw in here, and then as they opted out, then I removed them. But this is tools that I encourage you to kind of look at and learn how to use. And you'll see here this cash flow mix account: a penny saved, a penny earned, geared towards clients. I think there's some teammate stuff, related stuff in here too. So a really neat thing to use here. Other things that we have. Other things that we have is also the WealthWave videos. You can share that. You don't have to have a WealthWave website. I would encourage use your trainers. I know I don't have a WealthWave website myself, but I use Mario's. I use his videos. I know one of the recent IULs we sold that I used the IUL video on Mario's website. And Mario, thanks a lot for letting me use your website. You don't have to make that investment. Eventually I probably will get the WealthWave website, but again, remember I said I'm a slow mover on new stuff, so it takes me time. So there's another tool. So hopefully some of these tips kind of helped you out. Just be an owner. Take ownership of your business here, and just educate yourself as much as possible with the different tools. Utilize this time that we have. Make it a silver lining. These times are not suck for everybody, but you can really come out of this and really establish your footing in this business. If you just dedicate the time to it.